The war zone was quiet, but only for a moment. Captain Ryland stared at the blinking radar, his heart beating faster than usual. "Sir, something huge just jumped into the zone," shouted Lieutenant Kira, her voice trembling. Ryland squinted at the screen, eyes widening. "Impossible! That's a human battleship," he whispered, barely believing it. The massive ship appeared like a shadow falling over the enemy fleets, its hull glowing with strange energy. Enemy commanders froze in shock. "What? How is this possible?" one muttered, voice shaking. Ryland took a deep breath. "All units, stay alert. This ship isn't what they expect," he ordered, fingers hovering over the console. The human battleship moved slowly, almost like it was observing, yet every motion spoke of power and precision. Kira leaned closer. "Sir, enemy drones are moving toward it, but they're hesitant, unsure what to do." Ryland smiled slightly. "Good, let them doubt. That doubt will cost them," he said quietly, but his eyes never left the display. Suddenly, the battleship fired its first shot, a single beam of light that sliced through the enemy's lead cruiser. The explosion echoed across the sector, smoke and debris filling the void. "What the—" a commander shouted, shaking in disbelief. "They're destroying us before the fight even begins." Ryland's voice was calm, but firm. "This is why we underestimated humans. They fight differently, smarter, not just with brute force." Kira noticed a small blinking light on the battleship's interface. "Sir, sensors detect a cloaked fleet behind that ship," she said, eyes wide. Ryland frowned. "So they have support." This just got more complicated. The enemy fleet tried to regroup, sending signals and firing missiles, but the human ship anticipated every move. It dodged with ease, its energy shields flaring with each near hit. A sudden alert blinked on Ryland's console. "Incoming transmission from the battleship," Kira said, puzzled. A calm, deep voice filled the room. "This is Captain Ryland. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched. Stand down now, or face annihilation." The enemy commanders froze. No one expected words, only fire and destruction. Ryland leaned back, feeling a mix of fear and thrill. They want to win without unnecessary bloodshed. Clever. The battleship hovered, surveying the battlefield as if daring the enemies to attack. And in that silent, tense moment, every pilot, every soldier knew one thing. This was not an ordinary human ship. This was the start of a war the galaxy would never forget. The enemy fleets were in chaos, alarms ringing across every ship. Commander Varric slammed his fist on the console. "How is a single human battleship causing this much damage?" he shouted, face red with anger. Lieutenant Selna glanced at the radar. "Sir, their movements. They're predicting our every strike. It's like they know what we will do before we even do it." Varric's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. No human has this technology," he muttered, frustration rising. Meanwhile, the human battleship glided through the war zone, its massive engines glowing softly. Ryland's voice came over the comms, calm but firm. "Enemy ships, you can either retreat or continue this destruction, your choice." Selna's fingers flew over the controls. "Sir, they're targeting our command ships, but they're precise, almost surgical." Varric took a deep breath, trying to regain control. "All units, spread out. Don't let them focus on a single target." Explosions erupted as the human ship struck again, disabling multiple vessels without breaking formation. From the bridge, Kira whispered to Ryland. "Sir, they're stronger than we expected, but they're also hesitant." "They're not reckless." Ryland nodded. "That's humans. They fight smart, not just with firepower. Watch and learn." An enemy fighter screamed over the comms. "Commander, our weapons, they're failing." "How is this possible?" Varric slammed his hands on the desk. "Prepare the secondary cannons. Focus fire on that battleship." The human ship moved like a shadow, dodging every blast. Then suddenly, a beam hit the enemy's lead cruiser, splitting it in two. Selna gasped. "Sir, they destroyed it, in one strike." Varric gritted his teeth. "No, that was impossible." On the human ship, Ryland leaned over the console, voice low but steady. "Keep calm, we're not done yet. Let them exhaust themselves." Kira noticed a new blip on the radar. "Sir, there's a cloaked squadron approaching from above." Ryland's eyes sharpened. "Good, let's see what they're hiding. Open the shields fully." The enemy squadron revealed itself, massive ships armed to the teeth. But before they could attack, Ryland's crew activated a sudden countermeasure, an energy pulse that disabled their engines. Varric screamed in disbelief. No! How did they know? Ryland's voice came through once more, steady and commanding. Your fleet is strong, but it lacks strategy. You fight blindly while we think and adapt. The enemy ships faltered, confusion spreading across the war zone. Selna whispered. Sir, they're winning without fully using all their weapons. It's like they're playing with us. Ryland smiled faintly. Sometimes winning is more than destruction, it's control, and now, they are learning the price of underestimating humans. As silence fell, broken only by distant alarms, every soldier knew the human battleship was not just a threat, it was a force rewriting the rules of war. The war zone shook as distant explosions lit up the void. Commander Varric gritted his teeth, staring at the chaos unfolding on his screen. Sir, our forces are scattered, and the human ship is everywhere at once, shouted Lieutenant Selna, her voice tight with fear. Varric slammed his fist on the console. Focus fire on its engines. We cannot let it move freely. But every missile and laser they fired was dodged with ease, the human battleship twisting and turning like a living predator. Ryland watched calmly from the bridge. Good, let them exhaust themselves. They are predictable when panicked, he murmured to Kira. Sir, sensors show they're regrouping, forming a new attack formation, Kira said, pointing at the radar. Ryland's eyes narrowed. Then we'll give them a surprise they will never expect. Ready the secondary cannons. Suddenly, the human ship unleashed a concentrated energy wave, sending enemy ships spinning out of control. Varric screamed. Impossible! They're destroying our best fighters without even touching them. Selna covered her face. Sir, it's like they know our every move before we make it. Ryland leaned forward, voice calm but commanding. That's strategy, not luck. Watch closely, Kira. A small enemy fighter managed to break through, firing a missile directly at the human ship. Incoming, shouted Kira, but Ryland barely flinched. Let it hit. Now activate the counter shield. A blinding light erupted as the missile struck, but instead of damage, it triggered a massive energy backlash that disabled several nearby enemy ships. Varric bellowed. No! How can this be happening? From the enemy side, communication was breaking down, confusion spreading like wildfire. Sir, they're not just fighting, they're controlling the battlefield, Selna whispered, panic creeping in. Ryland's lips curved into a faint smile. Exactly. And they think they are in control. Then a new alert appeared, a small fleet cloaked in darkness, moving silently behind the human ship. Sir, unknown ships approaching fast. Kira shouted, eyes wide. Ryland's hand hovered over the console. Let's see what they've brought to the fight. Bring up the targeting matrix. The cloaked ships revealed themselves, massive and heavily armed. But before they could attack, the human ship fired a sudden pulse, disabling their engines and leaving them drifting helplessly. Varric yelled in fury. They knew! How did they know we were here? Ryland's voice cut through the tension, calm and deliberate. We don't just fight with weapons, Varric. We fight with mind and instinct, and that is why humans survive. The enemy fleet faltered, unable to organize another coordinated attack, while the human ship hovered like a phantom in the war zone. Kira whispered. Sir, they're not reckless, they're playing with them. Ryland nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the horizon. Yes, and the game has just begun. The enemy fleets were quiet, but their silence felt dangerous. Sir, sensors show a strange formation ahead, Lieutenant Kira said, pointing at the radar, eyes wide with concern. Commander Ryland leaned forward. A trap! They're trying to lure us into something, he said calmly, voice steady. Meanwhile, Varric paced his command bridge, muttering, We'll corner them this time, no escape. Selna glanced nervously at the display. Sir, their maneuvers are too smooth, too precise, something is off. Ryland watched the enemy formation carefully. They want us to think we are trapped, but they don't know we expected this, he said quietly. Kira frowned. Sir, multiple enemy cruisers are closing in from behind. Looks like they want to surround us. Ryland nodded. Good, let them come, this is exactly what we need. The human ship moved slowly, almost inviting the enemy closer, energy shields flaring slightly as lasers hit. Varric shouted, Attack now! Don't let them escape! Selna's fingers trembled as she typed commands. Sir, our weapons! They keep missing, the ship anticipates our moves. Ryland's eyes narrowed. Let them waste their ammo. Patience is a weapon too. Suddenly, the human ship released a flash of energy that disabled several enemy ships at once, spinning them out of control. Varric slammed his hand on the console. Impossible! They knew exactly where to strike. Kira whispered. Sir, they're not just fighting, they're predicting our every move. Ryland leaned back, voice calm. Yes, that's strategy, not luck, and now the trap is theirs. From the enemy bridge, panic spread quickly. Our formation, it's collapsing. How can they do this? One officer screamed. The human ship glided forward, precise and silent, firing only when necessary, each strike hitting exactly where it would cause the most damage. Varric growled, We underestimated them, this is going wrong. Ryland turned to Kira. Prepare the secondary pulse, it's time to finish this. Kira nodded quickly, activating the controls. Pulse ready, sir. The human ship released the pulse, and enemy cruisers shuddered, their engines failing one by one. Selna shouted in disbelief, They've trapped us instead. We fell into their plan. Varric's face turned pale. No, how did they turn it around so fast? Ryland's voice cut through the tension, steady and commanding. Every move has a purpose, every action has a plan. And now we decide the outcome. The enemy ships drifted helplessly as the human battleship hovered above them, shields glowing softly. Kira whispered, Sir, they're not just winning, they're teaching us what it means to fight smart. Ryland's lips curved into a faint smile. Yes, and this battle is only the beginning. The war zone was eerily quiet after the last pulse, the enemy fleet drifting helplessly. Ryland leaned over the console, scanning the horizon. Kira, keep sensors active. There might be more surprises, he said calmly. Suddenly, a faint signal appeared, cloaked and unknown, blinking irregularly. Sir, we have an unidentified fleet approaching, unknown technology, Kira reported, voice tense. Ryland's eyes narrowed. Unknown or ally? We need to find out before they fire. The cloaked ships hovered just outside visual range, their energy signatures faint but powerful. Varric's voice broke through enemy communications. All units, prepare for the worst. Reinforce shields and weapons. Kira glanced nervously at Ryland. Sir, they aren't attacking yet, but their energy, it's massive. Ryland pressed a few commands, opening a comm channel. This is Captain Ryland of the human battleship. Identify yourself or stay clear. A calm, deep voice answered, slightly mechanical, yet human in tone. We are observers. We have been watching your battle, human commander. Kira blinked. Sir, they aren't hostile? Ryland shook his head slightly. Not necessarily, but stay alert, Kira. Trust no one completely. From the enemy fleet, panic grew as their scattered ships saw the new presence. Commander, who are they? Are they with us or against us? Varric shouted, anxiety rising. The cloaked fleet shifted slowly, revealing their shapes. Sleek, fast ships unlike anything in the known galaxy, their weapons silent but ready. Ryland observed carefully. They are testing us, or choosing sides, he murmured. Kira leaned closer. Sir, sensors show they could destroy the enemy fleet in minutes, but they remain neutral. Ryland nodded. Then they will be our advantage, if we can gain their trust. He tapped the console, sending a careful message. We fight for survival and justice. Join us or stand aside. There was a long pause before the reply came. We will assist, but only if your strategy proves sound. Kira whispered. Sir, they agreed? But conditionally. Ryland's voice was calm, focused. Yes, and conditions are fine. They want intelligence, not chaos. That's what humans can provide. Varric's fleet, now aware of the unknown ships, hesitated, their attacks faltering. No, this is impossible. They are too powerful, and now allies appear. Ryland smiled faintly. Every battle is not just about firepower, Kira. It is about timing, alliances, and mind games. The new fleet aligned with the human battleship at a safe distance, energy fields shimmering as if acknowledging the command. Kira whispered in awe. Sir, this could turn the entire war, if we play it right. Ryland nodded, eyes steady. Yes, the game has changed, and the war is far from over, but now we have a chance. As both fleets hovered in tense balance, the war zone watched silently, knowing the arrival of the mysterious allies had just made every decision more deadly. The Warzone trembled as the new fleet moved beside the human battleship, their energy shimmering like a silent promise. "Sir, sensors show the enemy's morale is collapsing," Kira said, voice barely above a whisper. Rylan leaned over the console, eyes focused. "Good. We strike when they are weakest. Timing is everything." From the enemy fleet, Commander Varric shouted in disbelief, "All units, fall back. Don't let them surround us." Selna glanced at him nervously. "Sir, they're already trapped, our weapons. They barely work." Rylan smiled faintly. "Then let's finish it smartly, not recklessly." The human battleship fired a precise volley at the enemy's main cruiser, energy beams slicing through shields with surgical accuracy. An explosion rocked the Warzone, and the lead ship broke apart, spinning into debris. Varric's face turned pale. "No, they destroyed it, in one strike?" Kira whispered. "Sir, that was the command ship. Without it the enemy is disorganized." Rylan nodded. "Exactly, now we exploit the chaos." The human battleship and its new allies moved in perfect coordination, disabling weapons and engines of enemy ships without destroying them entirely. Varric shouted orders. "Concentrate fire! Don't let them take more of our fleet." Missiles and lasers fired, but every strike was anticipated and avoided, the human ship moving with almost impossible precision. Selna muttered, "Sir, it's like they know our strategy before we even think it." Rylan's voice was calm. "That's the advantage of planning and observation. Not panic." One enemy cruiser tried to flee, engines flaring. "Sir, one is escaping." Selna shouted. Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Let it go. It will lead us to the others." The rest of the enemy fleet faltered, unsure where to strike, their coordination collapsing as the human ship disabled another group of fighters with a sudden pulse. Varric slammed his hand on the console. "Impossible! How can they control everything?" Kira leaned closer. "Sir, they're not just fighting, they're teaching us the war itself." Rylan nodded. "Yes, strategy beats strength when used wisely." The enemy tried to regroup, sending their remaining ships into a chaotic attack, but the human battleship countered each move, precise and unyielding. Varric's voice trembled over the comms. "This is a disaster. Pull back. Retreat." Rylan glanced at Kira. "They will retreat soon, Kira. But only after they realize humans are not just soldiers. We are thinkers." The remaining enemy ships finally began to pull back, their morale shattered. Kira whispered in awe. "Sir, we actually won, without losing a single ally." Rylan's lips curved into a faint, confident smile. "Victory is not always about destruction. Sometimes it's about control, timing, and patience. And now the war has a new player, one who changes everything." The human battleship hovered silently, surveying the scattered enemy fleet. "Sir, they're regrouping. And fast," Lieutenant Kira warned, eyes fixed on the radar. Rylan leaned forward, voice calm but focused. "Good, let them come. We will show them the cost of underestimating humans." From the enemy bridge, Commander Varric shouted orders. "All units, focus everything on the human battleship. Destroy it now." Selna muttered nervously. "Sir, they're sending a massive wave of fighters and cruisers, more than we've ever seen." Rylan's lips curved slightly. "Then we face the storm, but smartly." The enemy fleet surged forward like a tidal wave, lasers and missiles filling the space between them and the human ship. "Shields at maximum. Prepare for impact." Kira shouted, tension thick in her voice. The human battleship dodged with fluid movements, each strike anticipated and countered. Varric bellowed in frustration. "How can they predict everything? This is impossible." Rylan's hand hovered over the console. "They are panicking, Kira, and panic is easy to exploit." An enemy cruiser broke through the outer defenses, firing directly at the battleship. "Incoming!" Kira cried, but Rylan calmly pressed a few buttons, releasing an energy pulse that sent the cruiser spinning into debris. Selna gasped. "Sir, that was the flagship of their squadron." Rylan nodded. "Yes, and now the rest will hesitate." Suddenly, a cluster of enemy ships tried to flank them from the sides, their movements coordinated and deadly. "Sir, multiple attacks from both sides." Kira shouted, alarm rising. Rylan's eyes sharpened. "Activate the secondary shields and counterwave. Target their engines, not their weapons." A blinding wave of energy erupted from the human ship, disabling multiple enemy cruisers at once. Varric screamed in disbelief. No! Our forces, failing again. The enemy began to scatter, some ships disabled, some retreating, their morale crumbling under the pressure. Kira whispered in awe. Sir, they can't even organize another attack. They're too disoriented. Rylan nodded. Exactly. Let them taste their own chaos. But then a new threat appeared, a massive enemy warship, hidden until now, engines flaring with immense power. Selna gasped. Sir, that ship, it's huge. Its weapons can destroy half our fleet in seconds. Rylan's expression hardened. Good. The final test, Kira. Focus everything. Don't panic. We've trained for this. The human battleship maneuvered carefully, dodging massive energy blasts, firing precise counterattacks to disable the new warship without wasting energy. Varric's voice trembled. How can one ship do all this? Rylan's calm voice filled the bridge. Because humans don't fight like others. We plan, adapt, and endure. The enemy warship faltered under the relentless strategy and precise strikes, finally forced a retreat, leaving the human ship victorious once more. Kira whispered. Sir, we survived the counterattack, barely. Rylan smiled faintly, eyes scanning the horizon. Yes, but this war is far from over, and every victory now comes with a greater challenge. The human battleship floated silently in the void. Damage minimal but tension high. Sir, sensors show something unusual, Lieutenant Kira said, voice tense, pointing at a flickering signal. Rylan leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Unusual or dangerous? Show me everything. On the screen, a hidden section of the enemy fleet appeared, cloaked behind a gas cloud, weapons ready. Selna's fingers trembled. Sir, they're hiding a massive weapon, something we've never seen before. Rylan's jaw tightened. So this is the enemy's secret. A weapon designed to wipe out entire fleets. Kira whispered. Sir, it could destroy us in seconds. What do we do? Rylan's voice was calm. We do not panic, Kira. We adapt, observe, and strike with precision. From the enemy bridge, Commander Varric barked orders. Activate the secret weapon. Show them what real power is. Selna glanced nervously. Sir, they are preparing to fire. The energy readings are off the charts. Rylan's lips curved slightly. Good. They reveal themselves, and now we have a target. The human battleship maneuvered carefully, dodging preliminary blasts, the crew working like a single mind. Secondary shields at maximum. Prepare the countermeasure. Rylan ordered. Kira tapped rapidly at the console. Counter ready, sir. Suddenly, the enemy weapon fired, a massive beam cutting through space, aimed directly at the human ship. Selna gasped. Impact in 5 seconds. Rylan's hands moved with calm precision. Activate pulse. Redirect the energy. Now. A blinding surge of energy erupted from the human ship, absorbing and reflecting the beam, sending it back toward the enemy. Varric screamed in disbelief. No! How can this be? The reflected beam struck the secret weapon, causing a massive explosion that threw enemy ships into disarray. Kira whispered. Sir, we stopped it without even touching them directly. Rylan nodded, voice calm. Strategy, Kira. Always strategy and observation. From the chaos, small enemy ships tried to regroup, firing randomly, but the human battleship struck with surgical precision, disabling engines and weapons without unnecessary destruction. Varric's voice trembled over the comms. Retreat! Retreat now! Selna glanced at Rylan. Sir, they're retreating. But their secret weapon could have ended us in seconds. Rylan's eyes scanned the horizon, calm but focused. Yes, but now we know their weakness. They depend on power, not thought. Kira whispered. Sir, every time we survive, the danger seems bigger, more unpredictable. Rylan smiled faintly. Exactly. The enemy teaches us what we must do next, and we learn faster than they can react. The human battleship hovered among the stars, shields glowing softly, energy systems ready. Every crew member knew that the war had just escalated to a new level, secrets revealed, dangers multiplying, and yet, with strategy and courage, humans could survive even the deadliest threats. The battlefield felt strange and heavy, as if the whole war zone was holding its breath. Inside the human battleship, the crew watched the screens in silence, waiting for the next move. Enemy command ships are exposed, one of the officers said, voice shaking slightly. This is our chance. The commander stood still for a moment, eyes sharp. We strike fast, and we strike smart, he said softly. The ship turned, engines humming with deep power, moving like a silent blade through the dark space. As they approached the enemy formation, alarms flashed red. A young crew member whispered, "They don't know we're coming. They think we're still behind the debris field." "Good," the commander replied. "Let them believe that." The main screen zoomed in on the alien command ships, large, glowing, and heavily armored. They moved slowly, unaware of the danger, their bright energy cores beating like giant hearts. One officer frowned. "Sir, their shields are cycling. For at least 10 seconds they're vulnerable." The commander nodded. 10 seconds is more than enough. The human battleship fired its first shot, a silent beam that cut through the dark like lightning. It struck the nearest alien command ship directly in its weak point, sending sparks across its hull. "What was that?" An alien voice echoed over the intercepted comms, filled with fear. Before they could react, the human ship fired again, hitting a second and third target in rapid sequence. Explosions lit the war zone, glowing like small suns. The enemy fleet panicked, ships breaking formation, officers shouting in confusion. "They thought we were running," the commander said with a small smile. "But humans don't run." The alien fleet tried to respond, firing scattered beams in every direction. But their panic made them slow, uncoordinated, desperate. "They can't lock onto us," an officer laughed. "They don't know where we actually are." "Stay focused," the commander replied firmly. "Victory comes from precision, not emotion." The human ship moved closer, almost gliding between two alien vessels. A crew member whispered, "Sir, if we go any closer, they'll never expect it." "Then let's surprise them," the commander answered. The battleship released a barrage of targeted energy bolts, each one hitting exactly where it would disable the enemy without destroying them. Alien voices screamed through the comms. "Retreat! They are everywhere! They know all our weak points!" One final explosion rocked the battlefield as the last command ship lost all power, drifting helplessly. Silence followed, deep, complete, and heavy. The crew stared at the screen, stunned. We did it," someone whispered. The commander breathed out slowly. "Yes, but this was only the beginning." Outside, the enemy fleet scattered like broken shadows. The human battleship stood in the center of the chaos, glowing with quiet power. And every soldier on board understood one thing clearly. This strike had changed the entire war, and the enemy would never forget it. The war zone was tense, silent but alive with danger. Ryland's eyes scanned the horizon. "Kira, status report. Are all systems ready?" "Shields at maximum, weapons fully charged, sir." "But the enemy is regrouping, larger than before," Kira replied, worry in her voice. Ryland nodded slowly, voice calm but firm. "Good, they think they can overwhelm us, but they don't know what we can do." Varric's fleet appeared from the shadows, massive and threatening, engines blazing, lasers charging. "Sir, they're attacking with everything," Selna shouted, fingers flying across the console. Ryland leaned forward. "Then we give them exactly what they deserve, precision and patience." The human battleship moved swiftly, dodging initial blasts while scanning for weak points. An enemy cruiser broke formation, firing a barrage aimed directly at the ship. "Incoming!" Kira yelled. But Ryland calmly pressed a sequence, activating an energy shield that reflected the attack. The barrage slammed into the enemy cruiser, destroying it instantly. Varric shouted in disbelief. "No! How can one ship do all this?" Ryland's voice was calm. "Because humans do not rely on sheer power alone, we rely on thought and timing." The enemy fleet panicked, their coordinated attack collapsing. Kira pointed at a distant signal. "Sir, multiple enemy command ships are exposed. We can strike them now." Ryland smiled faintly. "Exactly. Kira, target their engines first. Disable without unnecessary destruction." The human battleship fired with precision, each blast hitting exactly where it would cause maximum chaos. Explosions rippled through the enemy ranks, ships spinning helplessly, engines failing. Varric's voice trembled. "Retreat! Retreat all units!" Selna whispered. "Sir, they're finally running, completely disorganized." Ryland's eyes scanned the battlefield, calm and sharp. "Yes, but we must pursue carefully. One mistake could cost everything. The human battleship and its allies moved in perfect synchronization, disabling the remaining ships without destroying them. Varric screamed in frustration. No! We are finished. They are everywhere at once. Kira leaned back, breathing heavily. Sir, they're defeated, completely. Rylan nodded. Not completely. But they will think twice before challenging humans again. A faint signal appeared, the mysterious allies joining briefly. Their energy glows silent but reassuring. Selna whispered. Sir, the allies, they stayed to make sure we survive. Rylan smiled faintly, voice calm. Yes, humans are not alone when we act with strategy, courage, and focus. The enemy fleet fled, broken and defeated, the war zone quiet again. Kira said softly. Sir, we did it, the battle is over. Rylan's eyes scanned the stars, calm but alert. Yes, the battle is over, but the war continues. Every victory teaches a lesson, every challenge makes us stronger. The human battleship hovered among the stars, shields glowing softly, engines humming with quiet power. And in that moment, every crew member knew that humans had survived, triumphed, and changed the course of the war. For strategy, courage, and unity were stronger than any weapon, and the galaxy would remember that day forever.